Good morning, students. Welcome to the subject of finance management. We are dealing with our last unit, that is management of receivables, unit number 4. We have already discussed with few of the aspects of finance management related to receivables, right? That is, we have checked with its introduction and we have also checked with the importance there, right? Why or when the receivable arises, when there is credit sales done by the organization, at that time there is a question of receivables, because receivables is that amount which is not received from the customers when the credit sales is done, right? So many a times there are different objectives with which the receivables occur or maybe is taken up by the organization or companies when they want to promote the sales, when they want to increase the profit, when they want to face the competition. Competitors may not be giving the credit sales benefit or facilities. At that time the company wants to give it so that they can attract more number of customers. Then these are different reasons because of which, or different objectives with which the receivables occur in the organization, or maybe to sustain the existence, to develop the market, and likewise. So we have already discussed with the different aspects of receivables in the previous sessions, and in today's session we'll be taking up with few more. To start with, we are going to check out with maintaining cost of the receivables, or we call it cost associated with maintaining these receivables, right? Here the points have only been mentioned. The things are available in your text, so please refer that while you are listening to this video lecture, right? So as we have already noted that credit granted to the customer is not the cost free. Anything which is given to the customer will always, or whatever you do it as the activity in the organization or business, it will always cost you something or the other, right? So cost, it is applicable for the receivables also, right? So when we are talking about the cost associated with the receivables, then we can say that it is the first thing, that is first cost that is there, that is cost of investigating. Investigating means firm who collects the say the firm who, I think this is more legible, right? We can see it better, so we keep this horizontal kind of vision. So what is cost of what there are four types of cost involved. First of all, let us take it like this, that is cost of investigating, next is collection cost, the next is opportunity, and the next is bad debts or default cost. Now what are these different types of cost? Cost એટલે કંઈ પણ ટાઈપનો એવો ખર્ચો લાગે છે જ્યારે આપણે રિસીવેબલ્સ મેન્ટેન કરીએ છીએ. તો પહેલો છે એ કોસ્ટ ઓફ ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેટિંગ છે. મીન્સ ફર્મ્સ હેવ ટુ કલેક્ટ ધ information about the credit worthiness of the customer. See, blindly you can't give the credits to each and every customers. You need to know about their credit worthiness, because it is through only this credit worthiness that you will come to know that how far they will be able to pay your debts or your say receivables. So it is very important to know that. So a firm may have to conduct investigations to find out the economical position of the customers, or maybe the credit worthiness. This cost is also known as administrative cost, okay, and it includes like expenses of investigation, or maybe the maintenance expense of the credit department. You have to maintain a credit department for it, you will have to have the staff for it who will take up with the follow up or credit finding out the credit worthiness of the customers, making the records of it, right, and using it from time to time. So that is said to be first cost, that is cost of investigating. Next cost comes up is collection cost. These includes the collection expenses of the receivables from the customers to whom the goods and services are sold on credit. Naturally you have to get it back from them also, so firm may have to appoint even a staff for effective collection of the receivables. So whatever the receivables are there from the customers, they are to be collected by the company, so a staff has to be maintained at times, right? So for them, they what is the duty assigned to them, that they have to collect the receivables from the customers, and that is why a cost is being generated. Next comes up is like collection letters, giving the reminders to the customers, is the activity that is undertaken, and this is also called the collection cost. So a special department at times is required to maintain for writing the collection letters to the customers, or maybe dispatching them. If the money of the receivable is not received within that time limit, then the expenses like salaries, stationery, postages, phones, etc. are required to be incurred. And if there is a computer section, then its expenses are also necessary. So after all these efforts, even though if the collection is not made by the party, then the expenses on the legal actions are necessary, and these all requires a kind of cost, and which is included in the collection cost. Next part comes up is opportunity cost. Now what is this opportunity cost? The funds are tied up in the receivables, and these funds cannot be used elsewhere. We know this, right? Once you have done the credit sales and you have not received the amount, that means that amount will not be able or will not be available for any other cost that you want to make, or any other investment you want to make. Additional funds are required for the credit sales, which alternatively could be invested profitably elsewhere. And that is why if you want to make profitable use of some other fund or the funds, then that tied up fund will not be into use, so you need to have the extra cost for it. This is called the opportunity cost, or it is at times also known as the cost of carrying the receivables. So that is the third type of cost involved. Next area comes up is bad debts or default cost. Now what is this bad debt or default cost? Some amount of the receivables, we all know that this as far as bad debt is concerned, this is a very famous term as far as the accounting students are concerned, right? It is that part of the amount which is not recovered from the customers, right? Or there is inability to get recovered from the customers. There's some amount of bad debts would be incurred. Many a times what happens is that receivables turns up into bad debts. That means the amount that you cannot receive it from the customers will naturally turn up into bad debt, and that's a kind of loss to the firm. So firm is bound to meet this default cost because of the default on the part of the customers, or the customers who may be unwilling to pay their debts or the receivables at that time. These type of cost arises, which is known as bad debt or default cost. Alright, so here in the first part of today's session, we have checked out with cost of investigating, collection cost, opportunity cost, and bad debt cost or default cost, and what it is all about and how it arises. Next area comes up is reasons for granting the credit, right? It is there again in your text, and I am going to discuss one by one. See, there are various and several reasons for granting the credit to the customers, like to increase the sales. We have already seen in the objective part, but here we may see more points as far as the reasons are concerned. So it is to increase the sales and to increase the profit, one of the reason. Next, to attract the new customers, or to attract such potential customers who are ready to buy only if the credit facility is given. Next is to face the competition, or to protect the current sales against competition. As I told you earlier also, that competitors may be providing these say facility, but if you are not providing it, then at times you have to provide this to beat the competition or to face the competition. Next, if it is a general condition or it is a practice in the business that everyone in the business is providing the credit facility and it's only you who is not giving it, then you have to grant the credits to the customers. So if it is a general practice of the business, you have to do that. If it is a strong requirement of the customers or dealers, that means if customers asks it, that they want something on the credit, and if their demand is such, then at that time you have to fulfill their demand by giving them with the credit facility, and that will again in turn will say raise your receivables. Next comes up is to improve the profitability of the firm. Yes, at times when we want to increase the profit of the firm, the liberal credit policies are to be granted to the customers, which will help you to have more amount of sales. જેનાથી સેલ્સ વધશે, સેલ્સ વધે તો ઓટોમેટિકલી પ્રોફિટેબિલિટી વધે છે, પણ દરેક વખતે કેશ સેલ્સથી જ પ્રોફિટેબિલિટી વધે એવું જરૂરી નથી. You have to even go for the credit policy, and at that time the maintaining of the receivables comes up. Next reason is to maintain or develop the business relations with the dealers. Many a times the dealers asks for such kind of credit policy, and if you want to maintain the relation or maybe a cordial relationship with the dealer, તો એને સાચવવા માટે પણ credit policies અપનાવી પડે, and that results into maintaining the receivables. Next comes up is to launch a new product, credit is granted. Many a times when you want to penetrate the market, when you want to introduce the new product and you want to reach to your customers or the end users, then at that time credit has to be granted or credit has to be given up, right? Next comes up is firms extend credit to the dealers to expand its market, as we have discussed earlier also. At times for just maintaining the relationship with the dealers or maybe extending the credit policy to the dealer, it helps to create or to have the market extended. So for all these reasons, you have to have the credit grant to the customers, right? Here we are coming up an end to these reasons for granting the credit. Next comes up is scope of management receivables. Again, that portion is available in the text, right? See, this is the core area, scope of management of receivables. What are the activities? What exactly the functions that are being taken up under management of receivables, or what are the problems related to it? Then there are as many as 5 types of scopes that we will see it one by one. It may so happen that today's lecture may not cover all the 5 scope. Let us see how far we can take it. So there is not in hurry to complete the whole set of scope today itself, right? So we will take up each one of them one by one. First, let me just list it out. Kaya scopes છે management of receivables na. First is credit policy. Next, number 2, credit analysis. Number 3, determining the size of receivables. Number 4, control of account receivables. And number 5, optimum level of receivables. These, each one we will see it quite in detail, right? To start with, first thing, what is the first scope? What is the first function of management of receivable? It starts with the reason that when the management of receivable arises, or when receivable arises, when you are taking up with credit sales. તો credit sales કોની સાથે સીધું જોડાયેલું છે? તો કે credit policy સાથે. એટલે credit policy છે એ એનો મેજર સ્કોપ નંબર 1 છે. Now what is this credit policy? તો કે that includes કઈ ટાઈપના ક્રેડિટ સ્ટાન્ડર્ડ્સ હોવા જોઈએ, કઈ ટાઈપની ક્રેડિટ ટર્મ્સ હોવી જોઈએ, કઈ ટાઈપની કલેક્શન પોલિસી હોવી જોઈએ, અને કઈ પ્રકારનું પોલિસી અને પ્રોસિજર્સ હોવા જોઈએ કલેક્શનને રિલેટેડ, right? So it is all about credit policy. So when we talk about the first aspect of or first scope of management of receivable, it is credit policy. Now how this credit policy can be divided? See, credit policy, as you can see it in your text, it has been given in the chart form. It is divided on the basis of credit standards, it is divided on the basis of credit terms, and it includes collection policy and procedure. Credit standards. So credit standards કઈ પ્રકારના હોઈ શકે? Stiff or tight, or it may be liberal. ક્રેડિટ સ્ટાન્ડર્ડ એટલે કઈ રીતે તમારે તમારું જે રિસીવેબલ્સ છે એ પાછું મેળવવું છે, તો એના એક સ્ટાન્ડર્ડ્સ, એના ધોરણો ફિક્સ થાય. વન ઓફ ધેમ ઇઝ the tight or stiff credit standard, and the other one is liberal, right? Next comes up is credit terms. So it is related to credit period and cash discount, કે credit period કેટલા સમયનો હશે અને યા તો તમે cash discount કેટલું ઓફર કરશો. અને collection policy and procedure is related to all the efforts that you make for collecting the amount. So let us see it one by one. Under credit policy, the first thing that comes up is credit standards. But before going to that, we must just try to understand that if a firm adopts the lower credit standards, it may increase the sales, right? That means તમારું firm may adopt a liberal credit standard. એક તો કેવું છે liberal standard છે, અને બીજું કેવું છે stiff or rigid છે. So it depends upon the credibility of the customers, right? So firm may adopt liberal standards or stiff standards depending upon the type of customers. If the firm adopts liberal credit standards, it means to grant credit to all the customers, right? Liberal credit standards એટલે શું? બધા જ કસ્ટમર્સને ક્રેડિટ ફેસિલિટી મળે છે. It tends to promote the sales by attracting more and more customers. આનો ફાયદો એ થાય છે કે ઘણા બધા લોકો, ઘણા બધા કસ્ટમર્સને અટ્રેક્ટ કરી શકાય છે. And if firm decides the stiff credit standard, that means strong and strict credit standard, it tends to reduce the સેલ્સ નેચરલી લિબરલ ક્રેડિટ સ્ટાન્ડર્ડ છે તો વધારે લોકોને અપ્રોચ કરીને તમે વધારે અટ્રેક્ટ કરી શકો છો કસ્ટમર્સને. બટ દેટ હેઝ ધ ડિસએડવાન્ટેજ ઓલ્સો કે તમે જ્યારે કરો છો ત્યારે વધારે લોકો જોડાય છે, વધારે લોકો ક્રેડિટ સેલ્સનો ઉપયોગ કરે છે અથવા ક્રેડિટ સેલ્સનો બેનિફિટ લે છે કસ્ટમર્સ. ધો દેર આર ઓલ ચાન્સીસ દેટ દેર મે બી હાયર બેડ ડેટ્સ, રાઇટ. લાર્જર ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ્સ મે બી દેર ઇન ધ receivables and it will also increase the cost of collection. On the other hand, તમે ટાઈટ કરો છો તો તમે you are decreasing the sales, પણ એની સાથે you are reducing the bad debt loss, you are decreasing the investment in the account receivable, and again you are lowering the collection cost. So what finance manager has to do, he has to have the trade-off between what of the credit standards. That following point he has to keep it in mind, that whether what will be the collection cost, what will be the opportunity cost, administrative cost, bad debt cost, collection period કઈ પ્રકારનો હશે, એના આધારે he will decide that whether the and credibility કેવી છે, most importantly is customers કઈ રીતે પે કરી શકે છે, કયા પ્રકારના છે, એના આધારે then he decides whether to go for the liberal credit policy or the strict credit policy. જ્યારે સેલ્સ વધારવું છે ત્યારે મે બી લિબરલ પર જઈ શકાય, જ્યારે સેલ્સને કંટ્રોલ કરવું હોય અને તમારું બેડ ડેટ્સ ઓછું કરવું છે તો તમારે યુ કેન ગો ફોર ધ સ્ટ્રિક્ટ or tight kind of policies, credit policies. Here in the text you have been given the set of advantages and the importance or advantages and even the disadvantages of a strict and tight credit policy and advantages of liberal credit policy. Both the sets of importance and disadvantages have been given, which you can study by your own, and they are quite simple also, right. We will study the effect of liberal collection policy. What happens because of that what happens with the liberal policy, there will be increased bad debts, we all know, right. We can make out that average collection period is increased because so many people have taken the advantage of credit sales, so the period of collecting may be higher, right. Next, as a result of the above 2 points, profit will decrease, so that by the time you had to cover the profit, that time has been just given out or has been used for collection period, as collection period, then it will not give that much of profits. Next, increase in the volume of sales. Yes, definitely liberal policy છે તો sales increase થશે પણ bad debts ના risk પણ વધી જાય છે, average period of collection પણ વધે છે અને profit in the long run it may decrease. હવે as against it, effects of tight collection policy કહી શકાય તો કે decrease in the volume of sales. Yes, અહીંયા tight રાખો છો collection policy, strict રાખો છો, આટલા પીરિયડમાં આ રીતે ભરાઈ જ જવા જોઈએ એવી રીતે રાખો છો તો what happens, it may not attract all the types of customers, then it will decrease the volume of sales on one hand, and bad debt expenses will definitely decline કે bad debts છે એ ઘટી જાય છે કારણ કે more number of customers are not taking the advantage of this strict credit policy. Next, it reduces the average collection period, just opposite to what we have studied કે જે average collection period છે એ ઘટી જાય છે, ઓછા લોકોનો તમારે સંપર્ક કરીને કલેક્ટ કરવાનું હોય છે, અને as a result of decline in bad debts and reduction in the average collection cost, profit will increase. So managers have to create a trade-off, whether they want to go for the liberal credit policy or the tight credit policy, કારણ કે it depends completely, as I told you, that what situation it is, what type of customers are there, what is their credibility to pay, and then accordingly if the managerial decision is taken up related to the credit policy or maybe the credit standards by the managers, then it will give the best result. So the first aspect of credit policy, that is credit standard, we have cleared. What we have to remember there is liberal or strict credit standards, right. Next comes up is said to be under the credit policy, that is credit terms. તો ક્રેડિટ ટર્મ્સ જ્યારે આપણે કરીએ છીએ તો ક્રેડિટ ટર્મ્સ ઇન્ક્લુડ્સ ટુ થિંગ્સ. વન ઇઝ ક્રેડિટ પીરિયડ, કેટલા સમય માટે ક્રેડિટ આપ્યું છે, અને કેશ ડિસ્કાઉન્ટ. કેશ ડિસ્કાઉન્ટ એટલે તમે વિધિન અ પીરિયડ ઓફ ટાઈમ તમે આપી દો છો અથવા ભરપાઈ કરી દો છો, તો વોટ હેપન્સ ઇઝ યુ મે ઓફર ધ કેશ ડિસ્કાઉન્ટ ટુ ધ પીપલ, રાઈટ. દેટ મીન્સ it helps to increase the sales on one hand and it keeps a control also. So credit period and a cash discount બંને વસ્તુને આપણે સમજીએ. Credit period means the length of time for the payment allowed to the customers. Whatever the time period, say 2 months, 6 months, 20 days, whatever is given as the credit period or time to repay the dues, that is said to be credit period. Credit period refers to the duration of time for which the trade credit is extended by the firm to the customers. That means for 20 days, for a month, for 1.5 months, whatever the credit period the company decides, within that period of time customer have to pay the receivables, or they have to pay the debts, or have to pay their credit sales amount. No doubt lengthens the credit period tends to promote the sales. More you give the credit period, more number of people will be attracted, but thereby the profit will be affected also, and that may decrease also, but it increases the investment in receivables. So more time you give to the say customers, definitely the sales may increase, but it has its own consequences on the profits also and the investment also, because investment in receivables will be high, કારણ કે લાંબા સમય સુધી તમારું receivables એમાં tied up થઈ ગયું છે. જ્યારે in short credit period, what happens, the length of the time for which the credit is extended by the firm is to the customer is short. Say if the firm allows 20 days credit with no discounts for early payments, the credit period is net 20. That means to 20 દિવસની અંદર તમે ક્રેડિટ પે કરી દો છો, અથવા ક્રેડિટની લિમિટ છે 20 ડેઝની, 20 દિવસની અંદર તમે પેમેન્ટ કરી દો છો, તો નો ડિસ્કાઉન્ટ વિલ બી ગિવન ફોર ધ અર્લી પેમેન્ટ્સ, બટ તમે 20 દિવસમાં તમે ભરપાઈ કરી દો છો, તો 20 દિવસમાં તમારા પૈસા ફરી જાય છે, એન્ડ કમિંગ બેક with your receivables, right? બીજો એસ્પેક્ટ છે, that is cash discount. So many a times we have seen that firm may allow cash discount to its customer to make the prompt payment of the against the bill. Like cash discount is offered to the customers to repay the credit obligation within a specific period of time. Like cash discount includes the rate of cash discount and the period of cash discounts. For example, see if a firm credit term might expressed as 2/10 net 30, it means 2% cash discount is allowed if the bill is paid within the 10 days from the date of bill. And if customer does not take the advantage of this offer, then the customer must pay the amount of the bill within the 30 days from the date of bill. This is how it is decided. Both this equation includes everything. 2/10 net 30. That means 2% cash discount will be allowed to the customers on the amount of the bill from the, if they are paying it within the 10 days from the date of the bill. And if at all they don't want to take this 2% cash discount and they are not willing to pay, or they are not in position to pay within 10 days, તો એ લોકોને કેટલા સમયનો સમય મર્યાદા મળે છે? 30 days they have to finish up with the payment. So like this, the credit terms can be decided depending upon the credit period and what amount of credit or what percentage of cash discount you want to offer. Again, there are positive and negative effect of cash discount, right, which is there in your text, and it can be referred as self-study, so I am not going in depth with it. The third aspect of credit policy comes up is collection policy and procedure. Here, this procedure includes the steps that how the collection policy is decided. See, if you are providing with the credit, then you have to have the credit period decided also. At the same time, you need to also see that they are being collected properly. Then there is a kind of steps that are to be followed. Like as you can see it here, in the text, that there is dispatch of letters to the customers, then maybe the telephonic advices may be given, even at times the recovery people are there for the personal visits to the customers, and then at last if they feel that nothing is working, then the legal actions may be taken up. Such kind of it is decided by the firm that which credit collection policy we want to go for. So receivable management should establish a kind of favorable and suitable procedures for collection, right? There are two types of customers. See, keeping in mind these types, you can decide your collection policy. One category of the customers who are able to pay the obligation but unwilling to pay. they are in position to pay but they are not willing to pay. For these type of customers legal actions are only the remedy. એ લોકોનું વિલિંગનેસ નથી, પે નથી કરવું, પે કરવાની ક્ષમતા છે પણ પે નથી કરવું, તો ત્યારે લીગલ એક્શન્સ જ કામ આવી શકે. On the other hand, customers who are willing to pay but their financial position is tied up or financially weak, then at that time for these customers the better way of setting it mutually without the legal actions may be adopted, right? So the second types are all those people who are not in a position to pay but they are willing to pay. લોકોને પે કરવું છે પણ એ લોકોની ફિનાન્શિયલ પોઝિશન વીક હોવાને લીધે they can't take up with the payments, તો ત્યારે legal actions છે that may not be very helpful. So the collection policy refers to the procedure કે તમારે કયા પ્રોસિજરથી કલેક્ટ કરવું છે account receivable, right? When there are due or after the due. In all the cases letter with the polite language is written to the customers. Maybe the collection policy is formulated in such a way which reduces the bad debts and it doesn't pressurize the customers on the other end also, right? If a tight collection policy may not be followed, in all those cases what happens is the firm may lose some permanent customers also. Collection policy should be clear and should cover the degree of efforts to collect the overdue amount and the past dues also. So the type of collection effort should be cleared. For example, slow paying customers are to be handled tactfully. Tight collection efforts reduces the bad debts and reduce the average collection period, that we have already seen, right? So the aim of collection policy and the aim of collection effort is of the firms are to collect the receivables within the due date and reduce the default cost. So that is how we have checked out with the first scope of management receivables or management of receivables, that is credit policy. I repeat, credit policy includes three different aspects, that is credit standards, credit terms and credit policy and procedure. When we meet next, we shall be taking up with few more scopes of the management of receivables. Till we meet next, it's a goodbye from my side. Thank you. Take care of yourselves.